Okay, I'm back with another, I don't even want to call this a tutorial. It's like a mini tutorial, whatever you want to call it. Basically going to show how I highlight and contour my face using, it's not blowing me out. I'm not even going to call this a tutorial. It's more like a mini tutorial, I guess you could say. Because half of my face is practically done, including my eyes, which I wanted to keep very subtle, but still a little on the pretty side, I guess. So yeah, I'm basically going to be showing you guys how I highlight and contour my face. And like I said, the basics are pretty much there. I did my eyebrows, I did my eyelashes, and I did some eyeshadow. I also have concealer all over my face for coverage. Didn't want nothing too heavy, so I just went with that and called it a day. So yeah, now I'm gonna highlight and contour, and I'm gonna be using LA Girl Pro Conceal. I'm also gonna show how to do a natural highlight versus a more extreme highlight or a nighttime look. I'm actually am going out tonight, but I'm still gonna keep on the more natural side because I do have to work tomorrow, and I know I'm gonna be getting up pretty late. So I don't want to have too much makeup on when I come back in the house. Just something real easy and quick to wipe off with a baby wipe and then follow up in the shower. Just wash it, boom, and done. So yeah, let's get started. Usually when I highlight and contour, the first thing I always do is my highlight because sometimes I do like to bake my highlight. And for those who don't know what baking is, it is using a setting powder to sit on top of a concealer or foundation or whatever you may have as a highlight, whether it's cream or liquid or whatever it may be. You're going to use a powder to put on top, which is called setting. You're going to set the powder on top of that concealer to make sure that the concealer doesn't crack, crease, smooth, or smudge. And baking just allows it to sit there for a period of time while you go about doing other things, whether it's contouring or eyeshadow or lipstick or whatever the hell you want to do. And once it's sitting there for a significant amount of time or whatever you feel is decent for you, you dust it away with the powder brush. And I'm also going to be showing how I do that. So yeah, like I said, let's just get right into it. I'm going to be using my LA Girl Pro Concealers. I'm all out of the one I initially wanted to use, so I'm going to have to use a substitution. So we're just going to have to see how that's going to come out because I am not even sure about how that's going to come out. Usually I would use toffee or mix toffee with fawn. However, I'm going to be using Cool Tan, which is for the most part a little bit lighter than fawn, but I'm just going to be using a little less of the product just to make sure that it comes out exactly how I want it to. This one is so thick. I'm going to create a very small line coming straight down to my face, like so, straight down. And then from that line, I'm going to just go straight out underneath my eye. Not too perfect. It's just right there. Once you start blending, you'll see why you don't have to be so precise. I'm also going to apply some to the very small area of my chin, not too broad. You don't want to use the whole entire chin because you don't want that to attract most of the attention. And you want to make sure that this is symmetrical for the most part. So however far down you bring this highlight, you want to bring this highlight. For right now, it doesn't have to be perfect because you are just applying the concealer. You're not blending the concealer and you're not working it into your skin just yet. So just make sure that you use about the same amount, even if it's not placed in the same way. You just want to make sure that the amount is the same so the coverage still looks identical. And I'm just going to move this around the same way I did on this side and just spread that out just a little bit more. I'm also going to use the remainder of the concealer without squeezing out anymore because this is fairly light. I'm not going to squeeze out anymore. I'm going to apply a very small amount to the very top of my cupid's bow beneath my nose. The bridge of my nose, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm mad congested. I think I'm getting sick. To the bridge of my nose, including in between my eyebrows, so you don't have no halo brows or no eagle brows. Make sure you blend that out. And also, without applying any more, I'm going to second my cheeks as if I were to contour. However, I'm going to apply the highlighter directly beneath where I would usually put my contour, and I'm also going to accentuate that area with contour. So I'm going to do just like this. And directly above these lines that I've created with this concealer is where I'm going to have my contour. So you just want to make sure you look straight ahead, make sure everything is symmetrical, everything is to your liking, and the amount of concealer or product you have used is exactly what you want to use, so you don't over highlight or just use too much products because that's going to look crazy and cakey. Oh, once again, I'm sorry, I'm very congested. Next, I'm going to take my e.l.f. stipple brush, and these are the shit. These is the bomb. Actually, this isn't even the one I want to use. But yes, I'm going to be using my e.l.f. stipple brush to blend out my concealer and just to make sure that it's correctly blended and flawlessly seamlessly into the concealer that I previously applied so that it all meshes together well. And just blend. If it's not perfect, that's okay. Just to make sure you get it in there and get out those definition lines so you can't see the definitive line of where it was. Bridge of nose. I always start in the smallest areas because it doesn't make sense to apply the least amount of concealer there, just to use it on the area where you had the most concealer because it's going to transfer to those areas. So I always like to use in the areas with the least concealer first, blend it out as well as I can, and move on to the areas with the most concealer. And the reason why I said it doesn't have to be perfect is because the same brush that I use for foundation is the brush that I'm going to be using to make sure this is seamlessly blended out so that it doesn't have a very patchy, blotchy, or uneven looking finish. Right now it looks not to my liking or how I would usually like it. This highlight is a little brighter than I would go for. But that's okay. I can use a darker setting powder in order to neutralize the brightness of the concealer. So that's perfectly fine. And like I said, I'm going to go back in again with the same brush that I used to apply my all over coverage, whether it's concealer or foundation or whatever it is. This is an e.l.f. powder brush, and these brushes are also the shit. I use these for foundation, for powder, for concealer, for BB cream, for everything or anything you can think of. So the same areas that I apply concealer, I'm just going to go back over and buff it out with this brush because it's really soft and extremely gentle. You don't need to be harsh or apply a lot of pressure. Just make sure you move around in small circles. Make sure that it's blended out all the way. And you can probably see the difference already in how this concealer looks when this brush is used opposed to the stipple brush. The stipple brush I like to use to manipulate the concealer, to move it around my face and to get it to where I want it to be. And I like to use the powder brush to buff it out and make sure that the finish is seamless and flawless like so compared to this side. I'm pretty sure there's a very significant difference that you can tell from this side and this side. But yeah, just make sure you blend that out completely and fully so that it looks flawless and perfect. Blend, blend, blend. Blend until your arms fall off because you cannot be leaving the house looking crazy. Then when that light hits you, and that light will hit you, you're going to be looking all types of crazy. So you're going to make sure this is blended out completely and to your liking. Just keep blending if you feel like it looks too wide or it's not blended out enough, or if you just don't like it at all. So that's highlighting. And if you just want to leave your face with a very natural or I guess a glowy look, you would just leave it like this. And that's what you would usually call strobing, just to use a highlighting technique and no contouring at all, or the natural contour of your face. However, I'm going to be contouring. And to do that, I'm going to use a very darker concealer shade of mine. This is called Dark Cocoa. This is also a dupe that I've recently realized for this BH Cosmetics liquid foundation. And the color of this foundation is deep ebony, and it is a very dark and pigmented color. I have barely used it on any clients. I literally used it on one person, and that was the contour. It is a very deep, dark, and pigmented color, so I usually only use about one pump to contour. It's also comparable to it'll come to me Maybelline Fit Me consistency. It's very light and airy, so you really don't need a lot. So yeah, I'm going to go in with the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the color Deep Cocoa and apply directly to those areas that I had previously used highlighter, but I'm going to go directly above. I'm going to use it on the sides of my nose, very subtly, and just my cheekbones, because I really don't want to contour too heavy. I'm going to use it a little bit in the middle of my forehead at the very top, on the sides where my temples usually are, or above my eyebrows. And that's how I apply my contour. For the most part, I know it doesn't look dramatically dark or different, but with the concealer that I've already applied for my highlight, it'll neutralize each other and it'll give a very blended finish, and it'll look very natural and not too light or too dark. So I'm really trying to neutralize these colors and bring them together so it looks a lot more flawless and seamless and almost like airbrush finish, like very perfect for the most part, because I do not want to be looking crazy, and then again, who does? So I'm going to use that same powder brush, that very soft and workable powder brush. I'm going to just work in small circles and blend this out until it's completely blended and I see no lines, no demarcation, no any of that, and just make sure that it's worked completely into the concealer that I previously used for my highlight. Just blend it out, blend, 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 blend. I did not know that shut off on me, but that's okay. So yeah, like I was saying, I worked in my highlight, my contour. I don't know if I look one tone, two tone, five tones. But the objective was to make a seamless finish and get a blended look. And so for the most part, that's exactly what you want. You don't look too dramatic. You don't want to look dark in some areas, light in others. You want it to be a really pretty and seamless finish. And once I blended that out, I just went in with my Black Radiance pressed powder in the color Creamy Beige because I didn't want to intensify the highlight with a banana powder or a non-tinted translucent powder because I feel like that would brighten it a little too much. And because I feel like the concealer was already light, all we needed was a little bit of powder over it just to set it a little and to tone it down. This Creamy Beige color does have a nice like undertone to it. It's like almost like a red pigment for people with red undertones. But I like that it kind of warms up the coolness of the highlight. So that's always good. And I'm just going to apply it to the places where I've previously applied the concealer for my highlight and just brush over it to make sure that it is Gucci. And for the most part, that's pretty much it. So the finish is done. And if you want to intensify your highlight, you would use something like a banana powder or a loose translucent powder to kind of set it. I'm just going to show you guys how I would do that. This is a translucent powder. Translucent means it's loose powder. That means it's going to move. If you spill it, it's going to be all over the place. Whereas if you have a pressed powder, it's usually in a compact and you have to use a brush to work it around to get the powder to get loose. So I'm going to use a loose translucent powder. I'm just going to apply it to like the back of my hand or so. Just because I'm being lazy right now. Usually I would use a compact, but yeah, I'm being lazy. And then I would use a wedge like this, or a beauty blender. But my sister stole my beauty blender, so I can't use it. And I'm just gonna apply that to the area that I applied the concealer on my face previously. I'm not gonna apply so much under my eyes because I don't want that to be too bright. I just want my contour to look very definitive without applying too much. And highlight and contour is very similar to, that's a lot lower. It's very similar to contrasting. So if you want something to look darker, you use the lighter areas and take advantage of that by lightening them up so that if you don't want to darken it too much, which I really don't want to darken my contour too much, I'm just going to take the lighter areas and lighten it so that in comparison, it looks darker, which is the goal. So I'm going to apply a little to the middle of my chin, very small amount. Keep as well the same areas that I previously applied the concealer to the bridge of my nose, forehead, and someone's at the door, and slightly under my. Okay, I'm in the bathroom now because I'm about to start my hair, and yeah, I'm about to start my hair. As you can see, I dusted away the translucent powder that I had applied or was baking to my face, and this is the kind of finish that it gives. Very natural, very pretty, but still very subtle and glamorous, and that's exactly the look I was going for. But yeah, like I said, I'm about to start my hair. Add some layers or something because this looks kind of scraggly, stringy, like nasty looking at this point. So I'm going to try to bring it back to life. And yes, this is synthetic, by the way. Okay, so I just finished curling my hair and adding just a little like fullness by doing some layers in the front. Now I'm just going to contour very, very lightly with, you can either use any darker powder than your skin tone. I'm going to be using my BH Cosmetics Blush and Contour palette, just to contour my cheekbones just a little bit. I'm going to take that really dark shade and apply it right to the area that I applied the concealer and just lightly go in circles once again just to accentuate it just a little bit, not too much. Here, like so. Then using that same, actually no, that is a different one. This is actually from Forever 21 and I fucking love this, yo. This shit is the fucking bomb, yo. It's a brush palette that I got from Forever 21 like last year and I still have it and I have to definitely get another one because this shit is let's like run out. So yeah, I'm just gonna apply whichever colors I like. Just usually I just go with 2 or 3 colors, mix them together, and just apply them to the high apples of my cheeks, like so. Usually I do use a bronzer, and right now my favorite is by Heart Candy. It's called Hula Hula. But like most of my good products, my sisters use it and or took it, so I have no idea where it is. So instead, I'll be using another product that I got from Forever 21 and the same blush brush, which is also by e.l.f., which is very fluffy and I love it. And this is a Love and Beauty product, like I said, from Forever 21. And it's a really gold and pigmented shimmer. It's really pretty, so I like it as like a highlighter. Just like dust it lightly on the high parts of my cheekbones, like so. And for the most part, I'm really done. I don't like to do anything necessarily heavy, especially when I'm going out just for drinks or something. Don't look like a slut. So let's not do that. So yeah, this is pretty much it for my like look for tonight. I'm just gonna go out, get dressed, put on some jeans, some boots, and just like a biker jacket or something. Something badass, you know. Something real badass. So yeah, this is basically the finished look. So if you like this look, just leave a comment below or request more videos or tutorials if that's what you would like, and I will definitely be sure to get to that as soon as possible. Thank you for watching this